Hello, everyone. I'm Mr. Macabre, and welcome back to my movie library. Yeah, I am very happy for the most part. I'm sorry. I wish I could have gotten this video up a couple of days ago, but unfortunately, I got this in a couple of days ago, but I needed some time to kind of go through and do a little bit of a deep dive on this. You already know what we're talking about. I pre-ordered from Grindhouse Releasing the 4K release, their very first 4K release, and I'm definitely sure probably after the sales of this one, this isn't going to be their last, but I got in the 4K release of The Beyond, and here we go. You look at this. This sucker is a brick, man. I know other people have already done videos talking about this, but I was just, I just wanted to talk about it a little bit and, give some of my thoughts on it. And, classic Lucio Fulci film, part of the Gates of Hell trilogy, along with City of the Living Dead and House by the Cemetery. And and I saw this. This is, I know that, at the beginning of the year, I said that I was really going to try to, curb my spending as far as 4Ks go and everything. But this was one, like I said, I try to stick to the rules, but, I'm not always able to. But, this is a really, really nice edition, 6-disc set. I also got the little, I was one of the early ones who got their pre-order, and so I got like the little, show it there. Come on. A little googly eye there. The little green pupil doesn't want to like work for me here. You see it's got the symbol from the movie, but yeah, I can't get the damn, look at that. Is that crazy or what? I can't get the little green googly eye to show up so you could see it. But anyway, so yeah, this is this came out and I picked it up. The total on this was $66.66 along with shipping, so it came out to about $76 and change. I felt though, with considering, okay, the $66.66, considering that there's 6 discs in this set, I'd say about $11 per disc. So I feel kind of like I got my money's worth out of it. I know a lot of people will be like, you kind of, come on, dipshit. You definitely got your money's worth out of this. I did for the most part. And this is beautiful set, and this here, look at that. That is really good hardwood box that you got that in, and look at all that. You get plenty more extras on here. I will say that is definitely a bonus. I think sorry, excuse me. I think Grindhouse Releasing, I think they knew if they had just not added anything else and just kept with just what was on here, don't get me wrong, this is still an amazing edition. And if you're like, I want to hold on to this, I don't blame you. As a matter of fact, I'm going to hold on to this too, and I'll get to that in a minute. But they knew that, like if they were going to charge people this much money for something, they needed to give people their money's worth. And I definitely feel like I got my money's worth out of this. So yeah, you got the nice big sturdy box. You got your book here, your 100-page booklet. There's Fulci on the bridge. You turn, there's Emily with her guard dog Dickie. And so, yeah, definitely you got like some really cool pictures in here, so body in the basement. Yeah. So, let's see, some artwork here. The house outside the cemetery. Never heard that one before. I know, just some of that's one of the things that's kind of fun about these booklets. Like, look at that. Voodoo. What was that? Voodoo? Voodoo Red Slernes Hotel? I don't know. But, I love that. Is that even, I don't even remember. Is that even in the movie? Got the slave girl chained up. I don't even remember that being in the movie, so. But yeah, this booklet is just a lot of fun to, look through and see some of the the old behind the scenes stills and pictures and stuff like that. So yeah, this is definitely a treat for fans of the movie. And then we're going to get to our, first of all, we're going to get to my one big gripe with this edition. We have the Eibon digibook here. It says on the spine, then you got that, and it's beautiful. You know, it's textured and everything else. You know, it has that beautiful old book feel to it. You got the embossing on the letters and everything else. And at glance, this is gorgeous. This is so beautiful. And then you open it up. You got your 4K disc. And these are all chapters. You do have some bonus features on here. Because of the 4K, you have two cuts of the film. You have the theatrical cut and you have the Fabio Frizzi composer's cut. You do have an introduction on the theatrical cut by Catriona MacColl, which is really nice. On the Fabio Frizzi cut, you have an introduction by Fabio Frizzi. And he just talks about, like, you know, working on the film and working with Fulci and stuff like that. So it's interesting. Then, you know, for bonus features, you got 3 commentary tracks, one with David Warbeck and Catriona MacColl, one with cinematographer Sergio Salvati, and then audio commentary by makeup artist Gianetto Di Rossi. You got some interviews. You got Fabio Frizzi's cut and Beyond the Beyond, Simone Scafidi. I hope I pronounced that right. Okay, so now we're going to go to, you got your first Blu-ray, which is the movie here. And I believe it's pretty much the exact same thing. Same commentaries, yeah, same bonus features on there. Let's see. You do, on the Blu-ray, that is kind of a nice thing here on the Blu-ray, is that you do get the theatrical version and the composer cut, Fabio Frizzi's composer's cut. So you do get that. And so we go here, we got disc 3, we got, you know, bonus features. Look at all that. That is so many of them. Look at that artwork, man. Is that cool or what? You know, that is so beautiful, you know. Catriona MacColl, David Warbeck, Emily's Eyes, When Al Met Lucio, Arachnophobia, Of Blood and Ink, Murder They Wrote, Beyond the Stuntman, let's see, Being the Sound Guy, Voices from the Beyond, Eyes of the Witness. Sorry, it's kind of hard. The print here is pretty small, so it's kind of hard to. Eye of the Witness, Eros, and Violence. Got trailers, international, German trailer, U.S. trailer is The Seven Doors of Death. You have U.S. re-release trailer, Seven Doors of Death TV spots, U.S. re-release, and here you go, Rob. You're going to love this, Rob. Radio spots. You love your radio spots. Then we go here, disc 4, which is archival bonus features. Looking back, the creation of the Beyond, the New Orleans Connection, Beyond and Back, See Emily Play, Making It Real, Lucio Fulci interview, August 1988, Part 1. Lucio Fulci interview, August 1988, Part 2. Eurofest 94, Lucio Fulci and David Warbeck. Eurofest 96, Catriona MacColl and David Warbeck. 1998, 1996, I believe. Festival of Fantastic Films, Catriona MacColl. 1996, Festival of Fantastic Films, David Warbeck. Beyond Italy, U.S. distributor. Still galleries with production stills, behind the scenes, promotional materials, video releases, Beyond the Beyond. So there you go. There's part 4, or disc 4. Okay, those are Blu-rays. Now we get to disc 5. This, I think, is a nice little addition to this. You know, you got a DVD. Sorry, my throat is dry. But yeah, we have the DVD, but the DVD is the Seven Doors of Death release. So how cool is that? You get it with the title card, Seven Doors of Death. And you get the Beyond in the Age of Aquarius, Seven Doors of Death trailer, drive-in Drive-In Asylum, Newsprint, and Gallery. Sorry, it's just so hard to read. And then finally, disc 6, you get the CD soundtrack, which I will say, look at all those tracks. That is one big difference that you're going to get between that release and the CD that comes with this release, because on this one here, you got the CD here, you have a total of 11 tracks on there. Okay. Now on this, as you can see, if you can see that, you have a total of 28 tracks plus 5 bonus tracks. So altogether, you have a total of 33 tracks. So that's 22 more tracks than what you would get on the old CD. So you're definitely get your money's worth out of the CD alone. Okay, now we're going to get to my big gripe about this. Digibook packaging. I do not like Digibook packaging. I've never been a fan of it. This here, for the most part, it is one of the better kind of Digibook packaging. It's, it is pretty easy to take the discs in and out, but but that's the problem. Is you try to take the disc in and out, you're going to get your fingerprints on it. And I've already had that experience with the 4K. So yeah, I'm not a fan of Digibook packaging. I really wish they had not done this. I wish that they had done something more like just maybe like an Amaray case with, an Amaray case with like a booklet with all the information on it. So, I get what they're going for. So it's like, yeah, visually this looks beautiful, but honestly, I'm not a fan of this. And I even had a problem with this because I took the 4K disc out and I put it into play and it did pause on me and everything else. So what I'm going to do, I know this is going to sound blasphemous, but what I'm going to do to protect the 4K disc, I'm going to take it out of here. The Blu-ray disc, I'm not so much worried about because Blu-ray discs tend to be, a lot. Unless you really screw them up, usually Blu-ray discs are pretty sturdy, But what I did was I took the 4K disc out of here, and honestly, I put it in here. Okay, I know that's going to sound blasphemous, but as you can see, there's the 4K disc, and there's a bonus features disc. I put it in here so I could protect the 4K disc. That's what I bought it for, and that's what I wanted. So yeah. So the idea is, I'll keep the Blu-rays in here because the Blu-rays are a little bit sturdier, and chances are, if I'm going to want to watch the movie, I'm probably going to want to watch the 4K. So I'll just do that. So, but yeah, that is my number one gripe with this edition. It's just I don't like Digibook packaging. I hope that in the future that if Grindhouse is going to keep putting out more of their movies on 4K, do not use Digibook packaging. Just put them in an Amaray case. That would be so much better. So yeah, so that's my biggest gripe with this as far as, the packaging and everything else is concerned. But overall, like I said, I know that seems pretty blasphemous, but I'm sorry, that's what I'm going to do so I can protect the 4K disc, that's what I'm going to do. So, there we go. I knew I wasn't going to get rid of this anyway, but, Now, excuse me. On to the picture quality and the sound quality. The sound quality, I'm not really the biggest fan of, to be truthfully honest. If you got a great sound system, you're fine. But honestly, like when I was watching this, if you're watching this with just a regular speaker on your TV, you're going to have to crank this up so you can hear the dialogue and stuff like that. The sound effects comes through really clear. The Fabio Frizzi's score comes through beautifully, but this, when you're trying to listen to the dialogue, a lot of the times, sorry, a lot of the times you're trying to watch the movie and the sound is really low, especially when you're trying to listen to, the scenes with dialogue and stuff like that. You have to keep turning it up. Now, like I said, if you got a great sound bar, you got a good surround system, you're going to be fine. But just, if you're somebody you don't have that and you're just trying to watch it on the regular speaker on your TV, yeah, you're going to have to crank that volume up just so you can hear the talking. So I do admit I'm not really that pleased with that part of it. Now, picture quality wise, the transfer on here is amazing. They did a great job with the transfer. It looks gorgeous. This is probably the, no, not probably, this is the best I have ever seen this movie look. I've never seen it on VHS. I've seen it on DVD, seen it on Blu-ray. Now I've got to see it on 4K. And this is the best this film has ever looked. One thing you could definitely say, there is definitely a, for the pure like film enthusiasts, there is definitely consistent grain throughout the film, but it's not distracting. A couple of scenes you can see is kind of pretty strong. Like I'll give you an example. Like one scene is when Eliza is driving on the bridge and she meets Emily and her dog Dickie. And you could definitely see, yeah, the grain is pretty strong there, but it's not to the point where it gets unwatchable. But, the picture quality on here is really phenomenal. It does look great. Especially like, some of the colors do pop, like the green of the trees and the grass and everything else. You get to see especially a lot of detail in the set of the hotel and everything else. One thing I will tell you, though, is like, I hate to say it, but, one thing that is probably going to take some people out of it is the number of times where the practical effects definitely look very, very obvious. Now, for an example, at the beginning of the movie, okay, one thing I will tell you, okay, there is a difference between the composer cut and the theatrical cut of the Beyond on here. In the theatrical cut, they go back the prologue to the film where they kill the warlock. They have, they do it in the sepia tone, style that they shot it in, and then on the composer's cut, it's in color. So the whole opening scene is done in color, right? So if you watch the composer's cut, one thing you're going to definitely notice is when they're throwing the stuff on the warlock and you see his face melt, you can clearly see that it's obviously a fake head that's melting and stuff like that. Another example definitely is the scene with the tarantulas. You could see it before, I'm sure you could notice it well enough even in like DVD versions of the film. You could definitely tell, like, you could see some of where it's like, you could tell some were real tarantulas and some were fake tarantulas added in there. In the 4K, it's like, it is so obvious which ones are the real tarantulas and which ones are the fake ones. It is so obvious. Like, you will definitely see it. You will definitely notice it. But that is, and like obviously a difference between the theatrical cut and the composer's cut is where there are, in the theatrical cut, there are scenes, where there's silence, no music score, but in the composer's cut, pretty much you consistently have, music playing throughout the entire film. So there's really no like scenes of just like pure quiet or anything like that. There's always a music score kind of going over every scene. So that's, but still, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. If you do like Fabio Frizzi's, score for this film, which is phenomenal, and and if you don't mind listening to it, I will say that the composer's cut is definitely worth a watch. Some of you could tell some of the compositions are slightly just a little bit changed, but not by much. But, it's just enough. But overall, I am happy with it. It looks great. Like I said, the sound, not really. Like I said, if you got a great sound bar or a great sound system, you're going to be good. But just be aware of that. If you put it on, you start watching it, you're probably going to have to turn the volume up so you can hear the characters speaking and like what is being said. Cannot stand the digibook packaging. I hope that maybe the next time Grindhouse puts out a release, just do an Amaray case. That would be so much better if you just do it that way. Because, that's the problem. These damn digibooks, you keep taking the disc in and out. They are going to scratch eventually, so... but overall, beautiful. The picture quality is astonishing. This is the best this movie has ever looked. Some people might argue, though, that it's going to look a little bit too polished, a little bit too clean, but Other than that, though, yeah, I mean, I'm really happy with this. I do feel like I got my money's worth, especially with more, you got two cuts of the film, you got much more bonus features on there, you have more tracks on the CD soundtrack. So I definitely feel like overall, I really got my money's worth out of this. So I'm not really upset that I bought it. So, and I don't know. I know everybody is waiting for a standard edition. I hope that maybe at some point that will happen, but I would just say, if nothing else, bide your time, and hopefully at some point this will, at some point you'll be able to find it for a more affordable price. And, but I mean, if you got the money, if you love the movie and you got the money, I say go ahead and pick it up if you want it. If you're fine with this, no problems there. This will definitely still do you in a pinch. So and that's the thing. Like, I'm keeping mine. Like I said, I took the 4K out of this so I could put it into this so I could protect the disc. So anyway, so yeah. If you're fine with this, nothing wrong with that, man. So yeah, but still really, really good. If you pay the money for it, I feel like, you will get your money's worth out of it, especially when you see what all you're getting with it. So yeah, before we go, if you don't mind, I'd like to just show you a couple of other things I got. You guys know me. I've said it many, many times. If I can upgrade for a good price, I will upgrade. And even though this wasn't really a necessary upgrade, I went ahead and I upgraded anyway because I got such a good deal on it. I had this on Blu-ray. Now upgrading to 4K, I got Thanksgiving in the 4K Steelbook. And there we go. This is nice. So you even get a couple more bonus features on the 4K disc, which I thought was nice. Behind the scenes featurette, Carve Diem, Giving Shanks, and theatrical trailer. But then the Blu-ray has the rest of the bonus features. But there we go. But yeah, I got the nice Steelbook. I'm not a big Steelbook guy, but there is no there's no like standard release of this, so you have to go with the Steelbook. But still, look at that. That's pretty cool, man. The John Carver picture on the back. So, got the little note from Eli Roth there. And you just got kind of like the different faces of characters and stuff. And then you got your 4K disc and your Blu-ray disc there. Hang on. So yeah. I will say though, I know that, I've heard other people say before, like the 4K and the Blu-ray, really there's very, very, very minimal difference in the picture quality, which they're right, but just like I said, it was a chance to upgrade, and for a great price, I couldn't resist. So I picked this up. So yeah, so Thanksgiving 4K Steelbook, happy to have that. And here we go. I got this. This is Shredder. Fun slasher movie. Definitely not the best slasher movie ever. This isn't going to give Halloween or Friday the 13th a run for its money, but I did have fun with this movie. So, this is a pretty fun little flick. So, I got this bad boy in. So, yeah, got a beautiful slip cover and everything else, and it's got a little poster inside. So, yeah. So, I've seen the movie, and like I said, it's okay. I could see myself watching this again, but like I said, this isn't gonna win you over. You're not gonna be like, oh, I'll watch this over Thanksgiving, or I'll watch this over Halloween or Friday the 13th. But still, it was a fun little slasher, and I got a good deal for it. So $7.50. So I can't complain about that. So yeah. So Shredder Blu-ray, happy to have that. And last but not least, my brother was so amazing. He got me this, and I cannot believe I am holding it in my hands, and it doesn't want to come out of the protective sleeve. Sorry about that. Friends of mine have seen this already, but thanks to my brother, I got the vinyl soundtrack for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This is unbelievable. I love this. There you go. This is such a gorgeous release. And look at all that. Look at all those tracks. And you open it up. Of course, you got the famous dinner scene. Hopefully you can see that. So yeah, you got that. The vinyl on here is amazing. Look at that. Hang on a second. We got, check this out. Hang on. There you go. There's side one. I guess, is that supposed to be like the, you know, like the solar flares or something? I'm not sure, from the beginning of the movie. On side two, you got Sally's eyeball at the dinner scene. So, holy hell, this is an astonishing release. I love this. And then you got a booklet here. It is only one record, but you know, you got the booklet here. So, you got the armadillo on the back. You got some cool picture, you know, like behind the scenes pictures and stuff like that. Where's a good one? There you go. Got like Toby Hooper, John Dugan. I'm not sure who that is in the back there. You got Ed Neal. I mean, this is just an amazing, amazing thing. I think that's supposed to be Robert Burns, you know, putting up the bones and stuff. But anyway, so yeah, that is that's pretty much it. So if anybody took the time to watch this, I thank you for doing it. I appreciate you for doing it. I honestly hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, would you please leave it a like? And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. And that's it. Take care, everybody. Have a good night. See you all later.